That's nice.
Excuse me.
That's classy. That's the first thing people want to hear when they come online.
Well, I did that before it actually said that we were live, so it's fine. There you go.
I figured since we're having the party.
Like that.
Since we're having the party.
Yes.
Come on. Ah, damn. No, I thought they were going to make it.
Hello and welcome to episode 587 of the Player One podcast for Tuesday, February 6th, 2018. I'm your host, Chris Johnston. With me, as always, from Canada, the guy who's watching the Super Bowl and can't be bothered with what's going on in this podcast, Mr. Greg Stewart.
Just, everyone misses Greg Ford, and tonight we're just going to get a little taste of him.
Come on.
He actually emailed me today saying, I hope you don't have to record during the Super Bowl.
Of course
he's a fellow Patriots fan, so being from Boston as he is.
Well,
good old Greg Ford.
And joining us from the great state of Washington, Mr. Phil Theobald.
Oh, hey. It's good to see you. How have you been?
We talked last week.
Yeah, but gosh, brother, how have you been?
Real good, Phil. Real good.
Really?
How about you? You got any stories from Target you want to share?
Boy, let me tell you. I was in a Target just earlier today and walking through their housewares department, and gosh almighty. I felt a rising urge.
To nap, right?
No.
That's what
no, CJ and I were, before the show, we were discussing shadow drops.
Oh, yes, we were.
Because the new we're talking about.
The new Cloverfield is being shadow dropped on Netflix after the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I still don't know what we're talking about.
There's Cloverfield?
Yeah.
Cloverfields?
Yeah.
There's
a new one. There's like a third one.
There's
a new one. It's on Netflix after the game.
It's actually a direct sequel to the first one because it involves the monster from the first one, I guess.
So I don't have to have seen the second one?
I guess not.
No, because I haven't seen the second one.
The second one's good, though.
I haven't seen the second one either.
Sure.
It is. It's good.
But
I wouldn't know.
But there was an ad during the Super Bowl that said, "Hey,
Greg doesn't watch the Super Bowl for the ads.
No. Back up. Okay. I don't get the ads you guys get.
Oh, really?
Oh,
yeah. You're in Canada.
Like people were talking about the Solo trailer.
Yeah.
At least 4 or 5 commercial breaks before I saw it.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Yeah. Because it's
Well, there's a third Cloverfield movie.
We established that
is coming out tonight after the football game on Netflix.
Right on. So at about 1 a.m. my time?
Yeah, I guess
probably.
Because we're at halftime now, which is a good 2 hours long. So
yeah.
So
we're talking about shadow drops and how shadow drops are great.
Yeah. So that's what this is called. Something that is like announced so the Saturn was shadow dropped into retail. Is that how that works?
Right. That's right.
Okay.
That's how that works.
That's an industry term I just learned before the show as well.
I mean, I called it I felt more like the early launch of the Saturn was a quality of life issue, but shadow drop works too.
Yeah. And I was talking about
your quality of life.
How earlier today I had to make a shadow drop at Target.
There you go.
Right in the middle of their housewares aisle.
Truly, we're in the upside down.
When you gotta go, you gotta go.
All right. Should we talk about some video games?
Why?
I feel like we should.
Let's talk about Super Bowl commercials.
There was a rumor going around last week because of a Polygon article. Polygon did this piece that kind of went into what Microsoft needs to do and release more games was their conclusion. And they talked to analysts who said the fastest way to get to that point is by buying a developer or publisher, or somebody like Electronic Arts. And other sites and the internet kind of took that and ran with it and said that Microsoft is going to buy EA. When that's probably not the case. But the article overall was just talking about that Microsoft is probably looking for acquisitions if they're looking to bolster their lineup. So, what do you think?
I'm super concerned that one of those acquisitions could end up being Playground Software, which would really upset me.
What do you mean? The Turn 10?
No, not Turn 10. Microsoft owns Turn 10.
Yeah, they're
Playground is the developer that does Forza Horizon. Yeah, and what are they working on now? And they're doing the new Fable,
allegedly doing a new Fable,
which, like I said a couple weeks ago, is that worries me because the studio's like bulking up now. There's a lot more people there, and I just am so worried that we've seen this story so many times. And it's funny we're talking about Electronic Arts because Electronic Arts is one of the worst offenders here, where they're going to swoop in, buy a studio, bulk it up, especially for something like Fable, which has such a high chance of just being in development hell for a couple of years. And then the studio's decimated, and the good thing that they used to do doesn't ever happen anymore. So
I guess the good news there is the Forza Horizon series is such a force. It's probably more popular than straight up Forza, right? Wouldn't you say?
I don't know, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah,
it's got way more mass market appeal.
So even if they staffed up to do Fable, they still have Forza Horizon.
Oh yeah. I'm just saying, I just worry. That's all. Because like the other thing that happens too is that I think we've seen this before. If you're in a company that grows way too far, way too big, way too fast, you lose sort of the culture of that company as well. Sure. And it's always just to answer Michael Nelson in the chat. Yes, this is a bed sheet covering my window.
Finally got.
I still can't put my blinds up because all the finish work that's done on our new windows is all not done right. So it needs to all be torn out.
You just got self-conscious about people talking about how you leave your windows open. You're just like, screw it.
I wanted it to look like a dorm.
There you go.
It's a clean sheet though. It's clean.
Do you have your bookshelf made out of cinder blocks and lumber?
I got my shelf of Sega Fun back there. You can't really see it too easily, but it's some good stuff back there.
What? Let me see here. Move that giant melon out of the way. Let me see what we got there. I got to see a Nomad on the top shelf. Is that right?
Yep. There's a Megajet up there too, but it's hard to tell from here.
What is it?
A Megajet.
Oh, okay. I wouldn't even been able to identify that. I see what's on the second shelf from the top there?
That is a Korean Mega Drive.
Oh my gosh.
Super Aladdin boy.
Would not have been able to identify that. Is that the Sonic Pixel Pal?
Pixel Pal back there, yep. And the Toe Jam and Earl characters.
Oh, sweet. Yeah. You got the
fascinating radio, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, on the third shelf, you got the Tower.
Tower Power.
Classic Genesis G1 Sega CD and the 32X there. Very nice. I approve. Is that
So you want to know what's on the bottom two shelves?
Sure.
Because you can't really see it. The shelf below the Tower of Power is the Iowa Mega CD boombox.
Okay.
The shelf below that is the Victor Wonder Mega first model. Yep. And below that is the Sega Terra Drive.
Oh wow! This is like a friend of the show, Bill Mudron, has a couple cabinets kind of like that, but stocked up with Nintendo history. He's got all the U2. We got to. I don't know if we should get you two together or keep you two apart.
Well, and it's kind of been like that back corner has not been used for anything in a long time, and I've amassed a bunch of hardware for Generation 16.
Right.
And it's all been sitting in a closet, and it's like, why do that?
Make some modern art out of it.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm gonna get some lighting for that thing and get some stands for a few of the smaller pieces of hardware so you can actually see them. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be great.
I love it.
I like it. So Microsoft, if they're not going to buy EA, is there anybody you think they should purchase?
Nintendo. Maybe Sony?
I think that might be difficult. Yeah, that might be difficult too.
They could buy Nintendo and then they could make them release a real console.
Oh, snap. Yeah.
Should buy Adult Swim Games.
Oh, okay.
Should buy Activision.
Sounds like a good payday. Ooh, Activision. Yeah.
But Activision would be a good purchase. That's what I'm saying. You buy Activision and Blizzard together, and they're not together anymore. They're one company, but
that'd be a lot of money. That'd be probably more than EA, I would say.
Of any company I can think of with a lot of money, Microsoft's up there.
Microsoft has a lot of money.
They do have a lot of money. Yeah. they might be able to do it.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, I think EA is a good prediction, but I don't know how plausible it is. I think it's more likely you were saying like Playground Games that they'll buy a whole bunch of
I
smaller
feel like something like
developers.
that. Like that size, like the 50 to 150 size development houses, which, like I said, scares the hell out of me personally.
Yeah. Or maybe Epic. No, they wouldn't buy Epic, right?
No,
They bought Gears of War off of them.
It's true.
That anyway, that's a news story that's going around. Of course, with our luck, tomorrow there will be an announcement that Microsoft is buying EA. So we'll just have to see. We got some Nintendo news here.
Oh, good.
Because of course we do. The Nintendo Switch has officially outsold the Wii U life to date. In
it's not bad
10,
for less than
10 months.
Yeah.
10 months.
There you go.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yep.
I'd say.
Yep.
What? You gonna say something, Phil?
No, I was agreeing. I was saying it was good.
Okay.
Good on them.
CJ's ready to throw down there.
Yeah. Jeez.
What are you drinking there, CJ?
This is one of them sparkling lime waters.
Oh,
wow. Hello,
fancy,
Mr. Fancy Pants.
That's right. Here in my Pikachu t-shirt, drinking my lime water.
I thought that was one of those new millennial Diet Cokes.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was too.
Yeah.
No, I'm afraid not.
No.
So fizzy good.
DJ tried to buy one of those at the store. They told him he was too old. Sorry, Grandpa.
Sorry, Grandpa.
Have some Dasani water.
Can I at least buy a tab? All right, so Nintendo also announced that they are doing Mario Kart for mobile.
Yes.
That's right. What do you think about that?
I think that every single mobile thing that Nintendo has done has been a down. I haven't liked it. So I'm not. I don't have high hopes for this.
Mario Kart Tour is what
this great if it is good, because I love me some Mario Kart, but so far Nintendo Mobile has not done it for me.
It's going to be released between April 2018 and March 2019, sometime in their fiscal year. So what?
That's not really a window.
Sometime within the next year.
That's when the cable company is going to be showing
up.
Exactly.
Until it inevitably gets delayed this time in 2019. So yeah, we'll see what that's all about. Curious. Anyway, Nintendo also said that their online service for Switch is going to launch in September 2018.
That's like a whole year delay, isn't it?
Well, they never actually said when.
Oh, I thought they said they were going to do it before Christmas last year. Originally,
you're right. It was going to launch in the fall originally.
Yeah. But I mean, hey, I don't want to pay for an online service, so great. Delay it as long as you want.
But this is only going to be like $20 a year.
I don't care. It's $20 a year I don't have to spend this year.
Well, that's true. So it's coming out in September 2018. I would assume that also means there's some big title that's going to use it coming out in September 2018.
But what's the difference then? Like, I mean, they've already got titles that use their online service.
I'm saying a new title.
Okay,
that makes sense.
They'll launch alongside it, and will make
that'll be worth paying for
the $20 a year.
PUBG. It's going to be PUBG on Switch.
That's right. Nintendo is buying the PUBG part of Bluehole, and it's coming exclusively. Yeah,
Nintendo all up in your blue hole.
It's going to be Zelda Battlegrounds.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
That sounds like the perfect game for Switch.
There be lock.
Well.
Yeah, I guess we'll see what happens with that. I'm sure we'll hear more announced at E3.
Yes.
When we find out what games are coming out for the Switch in the latter half of the year. We also got the official confirmation that Nintendo is teaming up with Illumination Studios and they're doing a Mario movie.
Yes.
That's cool.
Yes.
That's exciting.
It's official now. It was rumored before.
Yeah.
Now it's real. Yeah.
John Leguizamo is going to reprise his role as Luigi.
I would only assume. Yeah.
from the folks that brought you Minions.
Is Lou Albano still alive? I can't remember.
No. Not even close.
Not even close to alive. He's not even.
Neither of the Super Mario Super Show stars are alive.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
maybe they can get
a movie only Leguizamo remains.
Maybe they can get Danny DeVito to be Mario.
That would work.
They'll get Ryan Reynolds.
But he'd be
Ryan Reynolds. There you go.
He'd be really small and angry.
He only has to be the voice.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
But to be fair, Danny DeVito sounds small and angry. I mean,
okay.
You know, when you think small and angry, you just envision Danny DeVito
Or Vern Troyer, either one.
Nah, not so much.
No,
okay. I don't think anyone's envisioned Vern Troyer in the past 15 years.
Saying that is kind of insulting to Danny DeVito, really.
Oh yeah, kind of. All right,
Vern Troyer. Jesus.
What's wrong with that?
Nothing.
Exactly. So Ubisoft has announced that they're doing a season pass for Far Cry 5, and it's pretty cool, actually. You get.
I love the note here you have on our outline. Far Cry 5 season pass includes a lot.
It does. Includes. Yeah, Far Cry 3.
I want to point out, was it like 4 episodes ago where CJ, I can almost remember, I think the exact quote was, "Season pass, who still does that?"
And here's a company who does.
Ubisoft. There you go.
Yeah. They announced that they're doing a season pass for Far Cry 5. It comes with Far Cry 3.
Far Cry 3 in the season pass.
Far Cry 3 comes in your Far Cry 5 season pass. Yes.
Okay. So
it also
season passes are just giving you old games now.
That's right. It includes like 3 different side games. One is set in Vietnam. It's called Hours of Darkness. So
Far Cry Kart.
No, and then the other one is a zombie mode called Dead Living Zombies.
Oh, interesting. A zombie mode.
Pitted against zombie hordes in B-movie scenarios, and then a Lost on Mars scenario.
Oh.
Which I imagine will be a recreation of the Matt Damon movie, The Martian.
Where you run around throwing potatoes at aliens.
Exactly.
It's been a while since I've seen that movie, but I'm pretty sure that's what it's about.
And shadow dropping potatoes, yeah.
Gross.
Mm-hmm.
All over the place.
So that's if you get the gold edition of Far Cry 5, or if you buy the season pass, which of course is like $30 more or $20 more.
Okay.
Yeah. You get that content. That's pretty tempting, though, I would say.
Okay.
You get basically like 3 new scenarios and Far Cry 3.
Far Cry 3.
Remaster.
Yeah. Oh, it's a remaster.
What's that, like classic edition? Whatever that means. It's re-release. Whatever that means.
Classic edition?
It says classic edition.
That doesn't sound like a remaster to me.
Okay. Then no. It's just the regular Far Cry 3.
That sounds defiantly anti-remaster.
Classic edition? Okay. Yeah. The graphics in this game will not be better.
Don't get your hopes up.
Don't expect 4K.
You might still have fun, but don't.
This isn't even 1080p, so
don't peel the reflective film off that 4K TV you bought for this game just yet.
Digital Foundry, step off. This is a classic edition. All right.
What other news do we have?
We got Red Dead Redemption 2.
Cowboy game.
It has a release date.
Nice.
Yeah.
What is it?
Late October 26th.
Oh, spooktacular. Just in time. Just in time, because when I think Halloween, I think cowboys.
Oh, God.
Well, there was that DLC for the original.
That's right. It's a zombie mode.
That's right.
That's all the games are doing it.
Yeah, and why not?
Yeah,
why wouldn't they?
I don't know, because friggin' cowboy zombies, kind of dumb.
Okay,
what do I know?
Yeah, I can't speak to the game at all. It's not something I'm really all excited about. I didn't really play the last one.
You didn't really? What, Red Dead?
Oh, Red Dead was great.
You didn't play
I've heard
Red
it's
Dead?
really good. I just never played it.
Oh, it's quite good.
Yeah,
it's quite good.
Yeah, and the sequel looks like it'll be more cowboys. So sure.
Yeah.
Fine. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes. So Billy Mitchell.
Oh boy,
it's funny. I watched the King of
we're
Kong
bringing
last
out. Now we want to bring out our special guest, Mr. Billy Mitchell.
Mr. Billy Mitchell. So yeah, his video game records are under scrutiny.
Video game champion, world renowned
Mhm.
video game
That's right.
champion, Billy Mitchell, master of Pac-Man, the King of Kong,
Mm-hmm.
the man who you can trust emphatically
Turns
to
out
deliver. What's that?
Not so much.
His world record runs might have been done on MAME
Dun
instead
dun
of
dun.
dun.
original Donkey Kong hardware.
Yes.
And yeah.
Gasp.
And the person who was apparently there to verify that the runs were legitimate was
Yes.
that guy who was recently found cheating on Dragster.
The guy who had like 1,000 world records wiped off of the Twin Galaxies database because it turns out they were all fake.
They were all fake, yeah.
And I'm not. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe I'm exaggerating that 1,000 number.
Who was it?
What's it, Todd
Was it-
Rogers?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Okay.
I believe he did have just like a ridiculous number of records that they had to wipe out of the Twin Galaxies. This Todd Rogers guy.
Yeah.
And he was the one verifying the Billy
Well,
Mitchell.
wasn't that a whole scene in the King of Kong movie? I've not seen that movie in
I
years.
just watched it last night.
Wasn't there a scene where like Billy Mitchell he had sent in
He like delivers
his
a tape.
yeah
It was
yeah,
when Steve Weeby. So hey, quick rundown of King of Kong.
yeah.
Steve Weeby videotaped the world record score on his machine,
Right.
which was then disputed by Twin Galaxies, although it figures Billy Mitchell really because he was one of the referees.
Right.
So then he went to Fun Spot in New Hampshire for one of their events,
Which
where
is
he also
basically the Twin Galaxies arcade.
where he again beat Billy Mitchell's record from I think 82
Mhm.
in person on their machine, so it couldn't be disputed. But Billy delivered a video cassette that he said he'd been holding for a while. That was he claimed the first 1,000,000-point game of Donkey Kong, although Steve Weeby had done 1,000,000 points on his own machine earlier. But it was questionable because they showed footage of the tape, and there's a lot of weird VHS tracking issues happening during certain score updates. And
So it's like it could have been edited or
Yeah.
no one had seen him setting his new scores.
right.
Well, and this one has because MAME displays the screen differently than the original arcade hardware.
Right.
Arcade hardware like draws the screen in a certain way, and his records were done.
I think it's that
not
MAME
drawing.
draws the entire screen from left to right or something like that, whereas original hardware, it draws in chunks. Like the ladders are drawn first and then
Okay.
Yeah.
And also, isn't there the ability with MAME where you could just essentially get a program running in the background to play, like the game can play itself
the
perfectly?
vanilla MAME well that I don't know about that, but maybe. But the my understanding is the sort of vanilla MAME recording setup is works in such a way that you can easily stitch together what looks like continuous play, even if you paused it or you've sort of rewound back.
Okay.
And,
So you can mess with save states or
Like
or whatever.
Greg, I'm going to show you my perfect lap in Forza Horizon 3. I didn't use the rewind function at all.
Right.
Glance.
Yeah.
So it's funny though, because I remember I don't know why I decided to watch King of Kong last night, because I hadn't actually been following this news at all.
Yeah.
I just was sitting there going like, man, what am I going to do for the last hour of the evening? And I fired that up.
Fun movie.
It
It is, but it's funny because I remember he's painted as such a cartoonish villain
Right.
in that movie. And then I remember after the movie came out, there was this whole thing about like, well, they really edited that really creatively, and they left a lot of detail out, and there's a lot of nuance there that didn't really come through. But I was watching the movie again last night. It's like, no, he's pretty much a dick, like all the time. Like it's not an editing thing. He's just a jerk.
Right.
Whether he cheats or not, I don't even care. He just seems like not a nice human being.
I'm just fascinated by that whole Twin Galaxies community, It's
Mhm.
because it's so tightly knit, and it's so just sort of
it's a little creepy.
It seems really kind of exclusionatory.
Yes. Yeah.
That's even a word.
Exclusionary.
Exclusionary.
Nope.
No.
Well, I mean, you know,
Exclusionary.
looking back at it there, where like there was it was just such weird high school bullshit being done by 40-year-old men,
and like really nobody outside of their own little circle gives a rat's ass about the Twin Galaxies high scores.
Right.
You know, I mean, it really.
Well, I think it's interesting because I feel like actually, and I could be wrong because I don't follow this very much, but I mean, if you even watch the news every now and then, like gaming news every now and then after that whole King of Kong thing, then there's like, I was the dentist, I forget where he's from. I mean, the score's been shattered since then. Shattered. But like 850 something thousand was a record that held for 25 years before that. And it was to the point where the experts said they didn't think it was possible to break 1 million. But when you watch that movie and then you see what happened after it, you realize, no, the experts were that little circle of Twin Galaxies people that sort of were the clique and no one else cared. No one else cared. They were an interesting news item, but nobody was really paying attention. Yeah. And now it's like, I think King of Kong kind of opened that up. And now you see that a lot of those records that seemed insurmountable, maybe not so much. Maybe now that the rest of the world cares, or at least more people in the world care.
It's not just like the same dozen dudes in there sitting in their arcade trying to beat each other's records. Now there are outside people coming in and saying, like, "Oh yeah, I can do that."
Kill screen coming up.
Yeah. But yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Did you ever see Chasing Ghosts?
I haven't watched that yet.
I want to say I've watched that, but I can't remember.
Chasing Ghosts. It's another documentary about that group of
yes, I have seen
records.
It. Yeah, it was recorded around the same time.
It recorded around the same time. I think it came out maybe shortly after King Kong took off.
Yeah.
It's also good, but it's it doesn't have the whole good versus evil narrative to it.
No, it's just more of a hey, look, these people set high scores for video games.
And it was I just remember it was really kind of sad, because it kind of presented them almost as this little clique that sort of
that's
no
the
one
thing.
No one cares about what they're doing but themselves, but they're really dedicated to it.
Just watching that movie again last night, and I think it's only the second time I've ever watched it, and watching it with the the hindsight and sort of the eyes of, I know where this all goes. Yeah, you really see the actions of these, like I said, these 30 and 40 something year old men are just, it just comes off as so juvenile.
They're older than that now.
During that film, because that film was like 2006 or something like that, but maybe it was even earlier than that, 2004. But like, things like calling when someone's playing the game, they're calling and giving updates to Billy, and like there's a game championship lunch that everybody but Steve and one other guy aren't invited to, and then when they are invited, like somebody's immediately calling Billy on the phone. They just walked in. I don't know how they found out about it. I don't know what's going on. I'll meet you up back. And it's like, really? Really?
Sure, why not? Why not?
It's a weird little
fun to speaking watch, about some other upstanding individuals from the past.
CJ.
Yeah.
As a Twin Galaxies world record holder.
Yes.
In Hydro Thunder.
Uh-huh.
Are you part of this community? Are you privy to this?
I am not.
Is this why you're remaining noticeably silent during this part, because we are bad mouthing?
No, I don't. No.
Billy Mitchell. I do not work for Billy Mitchell. Glance.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Would you like to buy some hot sauce?
Yeah. I have some Billy Mitchell hot sauce that I got.
I know you do.
Trickman Terry's Christmas party thing.
Well, if the legend of Billy Mitchell has been tarnished, I can only remain thankful that there are some big names, big classic names from the olden days of the video game industry that are untouchable. I think back.
You might be talking about Nolan Bushnell.
Nolan Bushnell, founder of Atari, creator of Pong, creator of Charles Entertainment Cheese, Pizza and Play
Charles
Emporium.
Well,
cheese.
That's what the E stands for.
let me tell you. Let me
I
tell
know
you.
that.
GDC was going to honor him with an award.
As well, they should. That man is a beacon of hope and upstanding values.
Except
Thank goodness.
Remember,
What's that?
back in those Atari days.
Yes, wild days.
Wild days where the hot
Yes.
tubs and the champagne were flowing.
And women
Champagne.
flowing like hot and cold water. Yes.
Yeah,
but like a kindly old grandfather, he kept his focus on the games, on the matters at hand, and like the purely driven snow.
No.
What's up?
Well, anyway, yeah. After proposing that they were going to do this award, Bushnell has done many interviews in the past about Atari's wild days and all sorts of stuff like that. And so GDC has pulled their award back. They're not going to do that anymore.
Yeah,
because it came out he was harassing women.
Because it came out that he may have not been too great to female employees of Atari.
Which, let's be clear, none of that is new.
No, none of those revelations are new.
Yeah.
He's been very open about it for 20 or 30 years.
Yeah.
So just saying, like, there's I read the article here and it feels a little hypocritical just because when they announced that they were going to be giving him this award, it's not like this was new information that came to light after like
think about that information.
Yeah, exactly.
But certainly not new information.
When I first heard, because I wasn't following this, and when I first saw the headline that they weren't going to be awarding him, I honestly thought that it was because everyone's remembered, like, oh wait, he stole Pong. Right. He didn't make Pong.
Right. Don't mention that.
Yeah. But I think it's an interesting situation because he is responsible for so much of this industry.
Yes, that's
how
true.
How do you reconcile that? And I mean,
I don't square that with him being a bit of a
right. And honestly, the article that you posted here, which is from Kotaku, I don't know what all the allegations are against him, but I gotta say, the allegation, like the things that this does bring up, is like, try to get a pretty girl into the hot tub when she delivered some papers. Yeah, that would have been very uncomfortable. I don't disagree with that.
Sure.
And again, he has not hidden that he was like that. That's not new news.
Right.
Also, the whole thing, like, the Atari always the code names for all their hardware are always named after beautiful women. They've again been very open about that, or he's been very open about that. So I don't know. Like, I think one of the quotes I read in here was, "Now is the wrong time to recognize him."
Right.
When is the right time going to be? And I don't. It leaves I think the industry in a weird place because I don't know how he rectifies it. And we are allowed to recognize the massive contributions he made to this industry, right? So, again, not excusing anything he did, but just saying, I think the whole it's wildly inappropriate to recognize him at this time. Well, no, I mean, let's be honest. If this is the sort of thing that he did, it's wildly inappropriate to recognize him at any time.
Yeah.
But what can he do to rectify that? And do we just pretend there's a huge hole in the history of this industry at this point? It's an interesting situation. It's a weird situation.
Yes, it is.
I'll agree with that.
That's all.
For sure. All right, let's talk about Brian Altano's Switch, shall we?
What are we?
Brian Altano is an editor at IGN.
He's a famous figure skater.
I get it now. Okay, Brian Altano. Right. Yeah.
He so he's on Nintendo Voice Chat. He's an IGN editor, and he sent his Switch into Nintendo America for repairs. And they sent him an email back saying that they were able to do the repairs, or it's in process, and but we had to wipe all of your save data, settings, and links on the system.
No.
Good old Nintendo.
Yeah. And he tweeted out part of the message and said, Nintendo, you need a cloud save system. And I don't even think, honestly, while cloud saving is like...
just the option to back up save files onto a memory card would be nice.
Yeah, cloud saving is on my list of wants, but even higher than that is some way to back up saves, period.
Yeah.
Like, they don't have to do cloud saves. Just give me save backup. Like local backup. You already did that for Wii U and 3DS. There is really no reason not to have that in place for Switch, especially if a lot of the repairs that you're doing seem to wipe the save data.
Oh.
Yep.
Do you agree?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
It's stupid. Why it's not
a feature of the system, why it wasn't done ASAP after the system came out.
I don't understand why it wasn't done before the system came out.
And that too. I mean, you have Zelda, Mario, games that people are spending hundreds of hours on. You don't want to have that bad publicity or bad press that people are, losing their saves and aren't going to come back to play those games. Like, it's just it's bad overall.
I'm worried about that myself. My Switch is still on its way to Vancouver right now for repair. It was weird because I talked about this a couple weeks ago, and then I was so busy that week I didn't get a chance to go actually send the thing, and then I picked it up and started playing it, and it seemed to have actually fixed itself. That lasted for about a day, and then it got worse, where I'd be sitting there playing and all of a sudden the sound would go off and the icon would appear on the screen, and it was swapping randomly, like,
oh, that's bad.
Every other second it was swapping between headphone, and so it's like, okay, I gotta send this thing in.
Yeah.
Well, I do hope that they are able to preserve your save data. I don't think I've heard of somebody who sent in a Switch to be repaired that has gotten theirs back without a problem.
It really worries me because, and the thing that sucks is I finally pulled the trigger on buying the Zelda DLC.
Right. Yeah.
Like literally 2 days before this happened. And I like I said a couple weeks ago, if it comes back and that Zelda save is wiped, I'm never going to play that. I'm never going to play that DLC because I'm not playing through Zelda again. I enjoyed Zelda,
you don't have to play all the way through it. You have to only...
I'm not playing even enough of it to get there. No, and it's not because I don't like the game. It's because I don't replay games that big. I just don't. I don't have the time. I don't want to take the time to do it.
I am right there with you. Yeah, I wouldn't either. Like, I would take another 2 or 3 years. I would put that game aside and maybe come back to it after a long period of time.
Yeah.
But yeah, Nintendo really needs to address this. Local save backup is really all they need to do. Like, cloud saving is a difficult thing, even though it's sort of a solved problem on other platforms. But at least give us local backup. You have experience in that with 2 platforms, so shouldn't be that hard. Anyway, I think it's time to get into what we've been playing.
Okay. Okay.
Greg, you were not here last week, so let's start with you.
So yeah, I was bummed that I didn't get to come and record last week. All 3 of my kids have been dealing with different ailments the past couple weeks, so I just couldn't. But I didn't get to come on and sit and geek out over Sea of Thieves.
Yeah,
CJ.
How about that game, huh?
Because, man, was that a good time?
That was so fun.
Oh my god. I'm not really an online multiplayer guy, especially something like, the big worlds with other people around and PvP and all that sort of thing. It's not my bag, man. But CJ talked me into doing this thing with the open beta, and
I talked you into it, and then you proceeded to jump right on the boat, raise the anchor, and set off before we even knew what we were doing.
Yeah. It's great.
And then crash the ship into our destination island.
To be fair, a lot of people are crashing ships into things.
Well, that's true.
That first voyage was great because we didn't even realize, like, we
didn't know what we were doing.
We went over a sandbar the first voyage where what CJ's talking about, where I just raised anchor and we went. We went over a sandbar and it was like, we're still moving, everything's fine. Not realizing that even the slightest touch puts a hole in the hull. And so yeah, we went along, and then CJ was like, we're taking on water. And so we bailed on that one, and then we had a pretty rough landing to the island we were going to.
Yes.
Again, too stupid to check the hull before we left the boat to go find the treasure. So while we're on the island finding the treasure, there's this huge crash. There's some noise. It was a big noise.
And you commented on it. You're like,
yeah, we commented. What was that?
Like something's going on.
We go back to where we anchored the boat and it's gone. And it's sunk.
It was great.
So it was great. No, but I had loads of fun, and we got lucky too with it might have just been the nature of the fact that it was a closed beta. One night we played with Mudron, and I'm sure CJ talked about this last week, but we were playing with Bill Mudron as well, and we just sort of, CJ put out the word that I think was looking for groups, it's called.
Yeah, the Xbox feature looking for group, which is extremely handy.
Yes.
In finding pretty good people to play with.
And this guy jumped into our group, and I can't remember his name, but he was awesome. He'd been playing a long time. Dante, thank you. He'd been playing a long time, and he was super helpful. He taught us a bunch during that, and we had some really good. We had a really good game that night, which ended with, in my opinion, my favorite thing that happened during the whole beta, which was our battle with another galleon. There's something about that game. I don't know what it is. I like just the sailing, to be honest. Like, it's just, there's something about it that's just very satisfying. And especially when you have a crew that's all working together, and, so people can deal with moving the sails around, and somebody can deal with actually steering, and somebody's up in the crow's nest. And it's just really, it feels good. And we were getting ready to call it a night. And just on the horizon, you could see another galleon going across the horizon, and it was, I think it was Dante who said, like, we're gonna fight these guys, because we've been avoiding it all night, because we passed it more than a few people, but nobody had really sort of opened fire. So we aimed at them, and we dropped the sails, and we went at them as hard as we could, and it was great. We passed each other, and we both had a full volley. We scored a couple hits. I don't think they touched us.
No, they didn't initially.
So we came about, but it took us so long to come about that I think they got all the water out of their ship and repaired their hull. But they slowed right down, and we caught them. And earlier on, we had gotten some gunpowder on an island that we'd stocked up on, and decided to store it on the deck of our ship.
Oh yeah, that was a mistake.
And so we're screaming by these guys, and we fired again. And I think we got a couple of shots in. They fired. They didn't hit us except once, and the one cannonball that hit us hit that pile of gunpowder, and the front end of the ship just obliterated in an orange cloud. I saw Mudron's character literally disappear into the cloud.
Oh jeez.
So we're still going. I was at the wheel. CJ is still alive. All I can hear is Dante and Bill over the voice chat saying, "We're dead. We're dead. We're dead." CJ is like, "Where is everybody? Where is everybody?" And then all of a sudden I hear, "Holy shit, we're taking on water." So I jump off the wheel, and I go down, and in the galleon there's two levels that are underwater, right?
Oh.
And I go down to the bottom one, and the bottom level was already completely submerged. So we couldn't bail. It wasn't no good. It wasn't going to work, right? So, the ship went down just as Dante and Mudron respawned right on the ship. So then when that happens, you're swimming, obviously. And we started swimming for an island. Then all of a sudden I hear CJ telling me that a shark ate him.
That's right.
Great. And then they came about, and they were trying to snipe us from the front of their ship. It was fun. It was a good time overall. I really had a great time with it. I can't.
Well, there was the other time that we had docked in such a position where our boat was stuck in the dock, like we couldn't even move it if we tried. Right. And another galleon was trying to fight us, and so they were just hammering our boat, but it wasn't sinking because it couldn't sink. It couldn't move from the position that it was in. And this was the last thing we did that night, actually, I think. They just kept firing on us, and to no avail. Like, it wasn't sinking us because you couldn't sink from the position we were in. and we had already cashed in all our chests and whatnot. So they left, and I think that was when you said you had to log off. So
Yes.
we decided to scuttle the ship.
Yep.
And we all got like our cups of grog.
Yeah, you all carried a tankard full of grog.
Tankard of grog, and drank that at the dock while scuttling the ship. And the scuttling noise would come up, but the ship didn't disappear
Because it was too shallow.
because it was literally stuck on the dock. And then at a certain point, it just disappeared completely.
Yeah.
And that was awesome.
But not before most of us fell off the dock because we were drunk.
Because we were too drunk. Yeah.
It was a good time. It was a really good time. I went to work every day and described what had happened the night before, and I think I sold 2 or 3 people in the game.
Yeah.
So, and it's going to be crossplay on PC as well, right?
Yes, that's right.
So that's huge.
Yeah, crossplay on PC, and it did really well on Twitch last week during the closed beta as well. It was like #1 every single day of the closed beta. So that's great.
Other than that, I fired up Forza Horizon 3 again, finished the Blizzard Mountain DLC finally. And perfect timing, Microsoft put the Hot Wheels DLC on sale for like $7.
Yeah.
So I jumped into that, and man, really enjoying that. It's basically like if you played with Hot Wheels or any sort of dinky cars when you were a kid, and you had any of those like orange flexible tracks that you could build and do loop-de-loops and things like that. It's kind of like living out the dream that I think a lot of people who did that had back then, which is like, wouldn't it be cool if I could be sitting in one of these cars and experiencing all these loops, or and now you can, and it's loads of fun. It's ridiculously good fun, and it's somewhere you didn't expect the Forza games to go.
No,
which makes it even more fun.
You got flaming hoops. You got crazy loops.
Yeah, like there are just vertical pieces of track, and yeah, it's just all awesome. So fun. Yeah, and I've been playing it on the stream. I had a bunch of people watching it on the stream there the other night and commenting on it. So it's fun to be back into Forza Horizon 3. That game's just great. I can't wait. I really want them to announce 4 soon.
I imagine that's only a few months away.
I would think.
Yeah.
E3 at the latest.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's all I've been playing.
All right, Phil.
Try to watch the game.
It's 22-19 Philadelphia, just so you know.
Oh, good.
Okay.
Can't spell Philadelphia
without Delphia?
Without Adelphia.
Uh-huh.
I picked up for the Switch this week a couple of games. I picked up.
They sound like they'd be great on the Switch. Games sound like the perfect game for the Switch.
Games are great on Switch. And you know what I love when I'm playing Switch games?
What's that?
I love them to be old. So I picked up SteamWorld Dig. The first SteamWorld.
You own it on every console. You might as well have it on.
I need it on the Switch. Yeah.
That's SteamWorld Dig clear now.
That's on the Switch. I am.
Oh, so that's only $10.
It's $10, so I figured I'd throw another $10 over to those guys just because I love the SteamWorld Dig games so much. So I picked that up. Started playing through it again a little bit. Still a great game. But I also picked up Night in the Woods.
Okay,
describe this game for me. I don't know anything about this game.
Night in the Woods.
Uh-huh.
Is a post-apocalyptic first-person shooter in which you play Commander Smash Hardchest, a down on his luck.
This doesn't sound right at all.
Soldier of fortune who is fighting to get his kids back in a world gone mad.
What was the movie that Mystery Science Theater did where they were doing space? Was it
Space Mutiny? Yeah.
Yes, that was great.
It was all like
rock hard chest.
Yeah. Concrete brick face and stuff like that. Yeah. Night in the Woods, and I am going to give a very half tushied explanation of it because I've only played about an hour of it so far.
Okay.
But it is a it's so far what I've seen of it, it feels like a walking simulator but in a like 2D side scrolling perspective. You know, you're as it starts off, you are it's a cast of animals. They're all animal critters. And it's, have you seen the art style?
No, not at all.
Okay. It's got it's a very kind of flat sort of silhouetted look to it.
Okay.
The characters look, they're not like realistic looking animals. They're very cartoony looking animals. And you are a cat named May, who has just dropped out of college.
Like you do.
And she has returned home to her kind of, I guess it's kind of like a dead factory town where she grew up.
Okay.
And
so Detroit.
Yeah. And as of right now, I'm just kind of walking around talking to people in the town, just kind of like, and everyone's just, like, oh, hey, you're home. What are you doing home? That kind of thing. And
okay.
Yeah, so far it's kind of interesting. The writing's very clever. I'm enjoying the writing. It's kind of smart and funny writing. The characters seem like they're going to be fun, and I have absolutely no thing to say about it beyond that, just because, like I said, I'm just barely scratching the surface of it.
Okay.
But,
I'm interested in hearing more about it the more you play, because it's one of those ones that I feel like everyone's talking about, and I kind of want to know more about it before I jump into it.
Like I said, I've played about an hour. I'm digging it. At least look up some screens just so you kind of get a sense of the art style.
Okay.
My wife has been playing it on the PC. She picked it up on Steam, and she's a few hours into it, and she's really enjoying it. And she describes it as it feels like an indie film.
Okay.
Just the tone of it. So
pretentious.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Up its own arse.
Up its own arse.
Yeah. But yeah, she's really digging it, and I am just a little bit
you're giving it a shot.
I know I'm enjoying it so far. So yeah, like you, Greg, I've heard not but good things about it. So there you go.
All right.
Yeah. But that's all I've been playing this week.
Alrighty. Well, I've been playing a bunch of the Sea of Thieves beta, of course, naturally.
Mm-hmm.
And then I bought an Xbox One X.
My God.
What have you done?
What have I done? Well, I really blame Wario 64 on this.
Really?
Yeah.
How do you figure?
Because he posted this deal.
Because he told you about things that you could buy with your money?
That's right.
Whether you needed them or not?
That's right. So yeah, on Monday he posted a deal, Xbox One X for $459, and it came with
what a steal.
$50 Microsoft digital gift card.
But did it come with a $200 micro SD card?
No. No, it did not. So I decided that was the deal that I was waiting for, because if Microsoft does drop the price on the One X, it'll probably be to $400, and the $459 plus $50 gift card is close enough to that where I didn't feel that I needed to wait. So picked up the One X, and it arrived on Tuesday, which is great. The place I bought it off eBay, and it arrived the next day. Because the place that was selling it is based in Atlanta. So that was
Atlanta,
handy.
Georgia.
Atlanta, Georgia. That's right.
That's the same one you're in.
That is the one I'm in.
That is handy.
How handy. I know, right? So yeah, I set it up.
You got an Xbox and a handy?
No.
I'm sorry, I'm half watching the game, I'm half listening to you. So tell me more about the handy part of this.
There's no handy part. Well, except that it was delivered quickly. Like many
I've heard that about
show.
Like the best ones are.
I've heard that about you. They're delivered quickly.
Yeah. Yikes. So yeah, I unboxed it, of course, like you do with these things.
Did you film yourself unboxing it to post to YouTube?
No.
An easy $100 there for you.
No, I didn't do that.
Should have gone off to a suicide forest and unboxed it there.
What? No, I'm not gonna No.
I've forbidden my kids to watch Logan Paul videos.
As well, you should.
I hope you did that long before the Suicide Forest.
Yeah, I don't think they saw that one.
Okay, good.
So yeah, when you hook up your two Xbox Ones to the same network, you can transfer content between them. So it made migrating from the old one to the new one pretty easy. All I did was set up a copy and copied all the contents from the hard drive on the original to the One X, and the external that I have, and I have an external 1 terabyte drive.
So
that I just plugged in via USB on the old one. I just unplugged it from the old one, plugged it into the new one, and immediately it was working.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
So
I
handy.
didn't have to re-download a lot of stuff. Had a lot of stuff on that external drive. What were you going to ask there, Greg?
How's that? Why? I'm curious. And you know, I mean, why did you want a 1X? Because I mean, I hear you say it was down to the price that you felt was the price that you were happy with, but just why did you want a 1X right now? Because you don't have a 4K television.
I do not have a 4K television. That is correct. Part of the reason is that the original OG Xbox One is a flaming pile of crap. It is slow. Navigating the interface is slow. It does that thing that Ethan's talked about as well, like disconnecting my controller while playing for no reason.
Really? Oh, wow.
Yeah,
I've not experienced that.
I just didn't like the original Xbox One at all. And after playing Sea of Thieves, I was like, you know, I really like this game. I want to play more of this game, and you know, why not upgrade at the same time and get rid of the things I hate about the Xbox One, which is all tied to using that original configuration of the system.
Right. Okay.
So that's the reason. Blame it all on Sea of Thieves.
What about? I figured you would say something along the lines of better performance.
Well, I mean, that ties into it, right? Because the interface on the OG Xbox One being as slow as it is, this is a lot snappier.
Okay,
let's say.
I was talking about game performance, but yeah, I know that front end performance bothers you.
It really does. But yeah, you're right. Load times are definitely faster on the One X. You know, all of the games that I've loaded up, Forza Horizon, Overwatch, Zoo Tycoon. What else have I loaded up? I loaded up like a little bit of everything. Halo 5.
Zoo Tycoon.
I did. Well, it's on Game Pass, and I have the 14-day free trial of Game Pass going on. And my daughter and I played some Zoo Tycoon, and she quite enjoyed it.
Nice.
It's a good game.
It is.
And actually, a game that I think would actually benefit from a bit better performance, because I know that the frame rate in that game on the original Xbox One tended to stutter when you were driving around, especially. Yeah, when you were driving around in the cart.
Oh, I did not notice any of that.
If I remember correctly, but yeah.
I did not notice anything at all. It also, if you have a 1080p TV, I mean, obviously the graphics are not suddenly in 4K, but it does download the 4K assets for all the games that support them, and then it does this thing called super sampling, which is basically taking those high-res textures and making them 1080p. So it'll be like more detail, but not 4K. More detail than you had with the original.
So it still looks noticeably better.
Noticeably better, yeah.
That's cool.
And I compared Overwatch on the vanilla PS4 to Overwatch on the Xbox One X, which just got a 4K update, and it definitely looks better with super sampling than it does on the PS4. So, and games like Halo 5, I mean, they were already running. That one was already running in 60 frames per second, but it just the textures look great in that game. But yeah, that's why I bought it, and I've been playing a bunch of Xbox this week. Played some more PUBG.
No.
Lost, of course. I'm terrible at PUBG, just in general.
We all lose when you play PUBG.
I know. I'm bad at that game. I'm bad. But yeah. So I'm completely ready for Sea of Thieves to come back.
All right.
I'm going through withdrawal on that for sure. And then, of course, a couple days ago, I think I told you, Greg, my system, I was playing Recore Definitive Edition.
Yeah, you did tell me this.
And the system just shut itself off for no reason. I was like, oh, shit. Like from one bad experience with OG Xbox One to the X shutting itself off. It hasn't done that since the episode with Recore.
I feel like your television just couldn't handle all those Ks. That was the problem.
Apparently not. Apparently not. But I do not have a 4K television. We'll see what happens there. We'll see how long I hold out. Probably won't be long. But yeah, that's what I've been playing. Just a smattering of stuff on the Xbox One X, including Split Second, because that game is awesome.
I love that you just said that it probably won't be long. You won't hold out very long before you get a 4K television.
No.
Because I have to call this out because it was just so funny. Our esteemed colleague, Mr. Ethan Einhorn,
yes,
announced this weekend that he was going to go buy a 4K television. So obviously, and CJ and I were talking about it a little bit, and he made a really good point. It was the weekend of the Super Bowl.
You get
tend to be some good TV deals on the weekend.
Great TV deals
because they know they can sell them to you if you got the big Super Bowl party happening.
That's right.
And so I made a comment on Twitter about so how long before we're just endlessly singing the praises of I think I said the Xbox One X or the PS4 Pro.
Yeah.
To which the response was, we won't be because I have no intention of buying one. Dude didn't make it out of the store.
Yeah.
It was hilarious.
Yeah.
He was buying the 4K TV to use with his gaming PC, which
hey, sure,
people do.
Yeah. But anyway, I just thought it's just I know him better than he knows himself. That's all.
Well, and I thought it was funny because on this very show, I think in October or November, he said that if he did upgrade to a 4K television, he would buy an Xbox One X.
He did, which is why I said that.
Yes.
That was going to be the top of the line.
Yeah. Yes, that's right.
And yet he bought a PS4 Pro.
Which means that he will buy an Xbox One X sometime soon.
Yeah.
Probably.
So
yeah. I mean, why wouldn't you?
His quality of life is peaking.
It's just going up and up and up.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I'm trying to catch up with my Xbox One X purchase.
I feel like I live in a third world country here with my 1080p television and my OG Xbox One.
A caveman.
Like some kind of caveman.
Hey, 1080p still looks pretty damn good. It's funny. So I bought the Xbox One X, and then I started reading Xbox One X Reddit and the subreddit for that, and then a couple topics on Resetera about the One X, and people are really salty if a game comes out and it's Xbox One X enhanced and is not native 4K. Like if it's using some kind of checkerboarding or whatever, or only certain elements of the game is in 4K, like people really get salty about that.
I think it's just because it's so noticeable, though.
Is it though?
Well, it's funny because, and I don't know how much this relates, and I haven't gotten to see this myself, but a buddy of mine actually grabbed. He had a PS4 Pro already, and kind of the same thing. Like this past couple weeks, the 4K television he wanted finally had gotten to the price that he was like, okay, this is what I want to spend.
Right.
So he went out and got one, and he also grabbed a 4K Blu-ray player or Ultra HD, whatever they are. He grabbed a player as well because I don't think the Pro does that, right?
The Pro does not. No,
will not. Yeah. So he actually realized after a little while, because he was playing a lot of Gran Turismo Sport, and he actually realized after a little while that he wasn't getting the 4K experience because the cable he had didn't have it wasn't high enough bandwidth cable. HDMI cable. So he sorted that out. But then the other thing that he was noticing is, I forget what movie he talked about, but it was a movie with a lot of digital effects, and I guess it was filmed in 4K, but the effects weren't all rendered in 4K. And so when you're watching it on a 4K player, on a 4K television, it's really noticeable when things like that happen. So yeah, he was saying like that's a thing. It's apparently a thing. So
okay.
And there's a lot of them that apparently aren't native 4K. They're, shot at a lower resolution. And yeah. But anyway.
Well, I started watching more Digital Foundry videos because, of course, and they did a Monster Hunter World video comparing PS4 Pro and Xbox One X. And I mean, they do like side to sides, and yeah, you can kind of tell certain details or like certain shadow pop in and whatnot, and different like foliage not being in one version or the other, but it still looks great. Is the thing.
It's still an upgrade, right?
I mean, yeah, I mean, you're right if you're really scrutinizing those details, but in the heat of gameplay, I don't notice any of that stuff. No. I do notice frame rate, which is another thing. I mean, the One X, the frame rate on everything is fantastic. So,
right.
but little details like the foliage, I don't.
The foliage.
I don't notice. So
there goes CJ, our little walking library.
Right.
I love it.
All right. Should we do some tweets?
Tweet, 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 tweet.
All right, let's start with this one from Hacker Alias Gunstar Gamer, who says digital game sales in 2016 captured a third of the market. In 2017, capturing 75% of the market. Wait, did I read that right?
That's
you did.
Okay. GameStop continues a trend of selling fewer and fewer physical games. Where do you see Game Informer magazine in the next 5 years, since they are part of GameStop's marketing?
That's a good question, actually, because I mean, you go into a GameStop now, or sorry, I can only go on EB Games up here, but I assume it's very similar. It's 50 to 60 to even 70% toys and collectibles at this point.
Right.
The shelves, which I mean, Game Informer ain't selling. So
Game Informer is going to become a Funko Pop price guide.
Yeah,
that's where I see them going.
Yikes! I haven't read an issue of Game Informer in quite a while.
I've had a digital subscription for years. I've never checked it.
In part because a lot of the GameStops in my area, I don't know if this is just a thing, they don't actually sell like single issues. You have to be a member of their whatever the membership program is.
The Edge program or whatever it's called.
Yeah, and you get mailed the magazine. You don't pick it up at the store. So I haven't seen one in quite a while. I'm
a little surprised Game Informer's still around.
I will say they do a lot of great stuff on the web.
I mean, and
a lot of our news articles that
I'm not
GameInformer.com.
I'm not saying that is a knock on their quality.
And sure. They do good work.
They do great work, and they're great guys.
There were a lot of magazines back in the day that did great work and that aren't around anymore.
I'm just surprised they're still doing. I'm surprised they're still doing a print magazine.
Oh yeah.
But it's entirely run by the fact that they're GameStop's magazine, which is fine. I mean, that's been their thing forever. But I think it's a really good point. I think the tweet makes a really good point. Like, as you know, if we're talking about something that's becoming such a small part of your parent company's business, and there really is no other reason for Game Informer to exist, other than to help sell that stuff. It's hard to say.
Yeah. Yes. We didn't even we talked about this last week. Greg, you weren't here. The Game Pass thing with the first party games going on Game Pass. What do you think about that?
I think it's great. I love the Game Pass, the idea of Game Pass. And I feel like if I was a smarter person who was more careful with his money, I would take advantage of that, as opposed to spending money on games that I just sit here and collect dust while I wait for their turn to be played.
Sunset Overdrive.
Yeah, I played Sunset Overdrive.
It's on Game Pass.
But I mean, you still have the, knowing how slow I am to play some games too. I think for me, it's just like, will they stay on the service? I love that those games are making it on the service, but will they stay on the service long enough for me to play?
Good point.
But I guess, on the flip side of that, if they're already off the service, that means they're so cheap that it'd probably be easy to go out and buy it at that point for $20 anyway. So I don't know. I still think it's great. I think it's a great service.
All right.
And I love how Microsoft does it too. I like that you actually download the game.
Right. I like that too. I much prefer that to PlayStation Now, where you're streaming the stuff, because I'd rather take 1-2 gig download than have a stream over hours and hours that could be up to,
Yes.
whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Hacker Alias Beard the movie says, is Resident Evil HD remake too hard, or is having a 2 and 3-year-old increasing game difficulties artificially? Means you're becoming an old man.
Yeah, maybe you're old and you're just terrible at video games now, like me.
And me. That's a thing.
I played Resident Evil on the Saturn this past week.
Oh, yeah?
On stream. I am terrible at Resident Evil. Oh my god.
Those tank controls.
Those tank controls.
Yeah,
and having not been, I wasn't a Resident Evil fan when I was younger, when it was new, because I was all in on the Saturn and Resident Evil was a PlayStation thing.
Yeah.
So when I play completely wrong. I'm shooting all the zombies, running out of ammo really early on.
I do that too.
Until people in the chat were like, you should be running past the zombies, moron. Like, nobody called me a moron, but they were all thinking it.
Good thing you don't play Dark Souls.
Yeah, well, I respect myself more than that.
Yikes.
Oh, boy. Yeah, boy. That was Greg Stewart, internet.
Yes. Have at you.
It was only a comment on my skill level, which is to say, I know I don't have the skill to play that game.
Okay.
There you go. Hacker Alias Marvin Bruck says, Mario Tennis, Mario Golf, Mario Soccer for you Americans. Where is Mario Football? I think this could be great. What do you guys think? Sadly, football seems not popular enough in Japan.
I think he answered his own question.
I feel like that's not the only thing, though, because
then make a Mario Hockey.
That's true, but I mean, Mario Soccer wasn't that a Nintendo of America thing? Wasn't that made in Canada?
Strikers was made in Canada. Yeah.
Next Level Games.
Anyway, that might be part of it. I think maybe the other part of it might be that I think it could be a little controversial to sell a mascot football game to kids right now. I mean, there's a lot of we're still in the midst of all the science about head injuries.
Yeah.
People are fewer and fewer people are actually playing football at a young age now.
Yeah.
Which is like to the point that I think there's a worry about there being enough people to keep the league afloat in another decade.
But the XFL is coming back.
It's gotten so big that we had to create a whole separate football league.
Yeah.
One
the XFL is coming back. It's hilarious.
One that is more extreme.
Yeah.
Oh, look, I'm finally seeing the Cloverfield ad. This is the first time.
Oh, there you go.
Anyway, I think that they're probably not being that popular in Japan is the main reason, but I also think that it might be a slightly controversial game to put cartoony, kid-friendly characters into.
Yeah.
That's my feeling on it.
Good point. Yeah, I don't know why they didn't do it. They did horse racing for Mario Sports Mix thing that they put out last year, right? So, I don't know. Football is not really all that popular outside of America, though.
Well, it is American football.
American football, yeah. Anyway.
But you're also saying it's not really all that popular, but it's the most popular sport in the biggest market.
Yeah.
That they sell into. So,
Okay. Hacker Alias P.O. Rowe says, do you ever finish a really good game and then look at what to play next and think none of these are going to be as good, so you go back to playing something you have played before that you know is amazing?
No, because my backlog is so stupidly big that there's always something really good to play.
Yeah.
I have done this, though. Like when I finished Zelda Breath of the Wild and I picked up Horizon Zero Dawn and it didn't have gyro aiming. And I put it back. I put it down again and played something else instead.
Wow.
Because I was too used to having a bow and being able to gyro aim that, couldn't do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
Greg? I mean, Phil?
I can't think of a time where I've done that.
No?
I'm sorry. I mean, I certainly, there are games I will go back and play just because I know that they are great games that I get a lot of enjoyment out of, but nothing that I have not under these particular circumstances.
I see. Okay. Hacker alias Space Kappa says, do you find playing games in public takes away from the experience? I have to imagine beating Super Mario Odyssey in a crowded Starbucks takes away some of the epic feeling and takes you out of it somewhat.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely 100% agree.
Yep. I would not want to play a game like Zelda or Mario or Horizon or even A Night in the Woods in a crowded restaurant or a coffee shop or something like that, because I want to have my full attention to be on the game and what's happening in the game. And
I'll put it this way: some games like Zelda, where you're going to spend hundreds of hours playing, I think it's fine.
If you're just grinding.
Yeah, but if grinding, let's say if you're at the end game of Zelda, are you gonna sit at the McDonald's and I have 5 minutes before my order comes up. I'm gonna beat Zelda real quick.
Well, I did this with both Zelda and Mario. I was towards the end of each game, and I was playing a lot in handheld mode, and I waited until I was able to play in docked mode to actually finish those,
aka real mode.
Real mode. There you go.
Yeah. I had a sort of a situation like this before, because my youngest has a dance class early in the morning on Saturdays, and when I can, sometimes I don't take her because my son has hockey practice like 5 times a weekend. But when I can take her, it's one of the rare times when I take my kids to one of these events or practices where I can't watch her. Because normally if I take my kids to like swimming or hockey or dance or whatever, if there's a way to view that, I will, because they're constantly looking to see if I'm watching, basically. So I don't usually take a portable game system with me. But in this particular instance, there's no way to sit and watch her. She's in the room. There's like one doorway, so you'd have to hover over the doorway to see anything.
Oh, okay.
But I didn't have my Switch with me because it's on its way to Vancouver, so I brought my my Vita with me. And I was sitting there playing. I have Dracula X Chronicles on there, the PSP game, downloaded onto that. Sitting there playing it, did not enjoy it. I didn't bring any headphones with me.
Oh,
if I had, I wouldn't keep them in anyway, because I do want to be able to hear if someone's calling for me, like if it needs to be for something. And I had the sound up a little bit so I could just hear it, but there were a bunch of people around. And I don't want to annoy these people. They don't need to hear Richter Belmont screaming "yeah" every 2 seconds. Like, I would be annoyed at that. So I turned it down, and then I'm sitting there thinking, like, I'm not getting the full experience here. I'm not really enjoying this.
Right.
And I turned it off, and I surfed my phone for 20 minutes. Like, I would much rather experience most games fully and in the comfort of my own home, or somewhere where I can like crank up the volume if I want to, or whatever.
Unless you're playing something where you're grinding and it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, sure. I agree with that. Yeah.
All right, let's finish it up with this one from Hacker Alias, Mr. Nelson, who says the Switch eShop is getting full of mobile game shovelware, making it harder to separate the wheat from the chaff.
The shaft? The wheat from your shaft.
CJ. Yeah. You might want to see a doctor.
There shouldn't be any wheat down there, CJ.
I'm getting a lot of yeast.
Put some powder down there. Any concerns?
I have concerns about your handies.
Any concerns? It will end up like the wheat in that regard.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. 2 things here, though. First of all, making the stuff you want to find hard to find is something every game platform suffers from.
Yeah, have you been on PSN or Xbox Live?
Yeah, that's
not a Nintendo thing.
Isn't every eShop filled with garbage you have to wade through to find the good stuff?
Yeah, yes. and none of them have a good interface. When I'm talking console here, the other 2 don't have a good interface. The interface for both their stores is terrible. Nintendo's interface has been acceptable up until this point because there have been so few games relative to those other ones. It's just, the newest stuff's on top. Great, easy. But now you're getting to the point where every week there's like 15 newest things on top.
Right.
And if you're not on top of it, then you've got the same problem you've got. So that's not really a Nintendo problem. It was something that was going to happen eventually. But I mean, I think that being hit with a bunch of especially mobile ports was always going to happen based on the architecture of the system.
I mean, you have a popular platform, you are going to see a lot of companies port their stuff over,
especially if it's easy to do.
Yeah, I mean, they did that with PlayStation and Xbox as well. Like those do not have any shortage of chaff on their their platforms.
Yep.
So I think the important thing here, since the Switch is a popular platform, obviously it's going to get a lot of these games. What I would say people should pay attention to is Nintendo has that news section. Mm-hmm. Every week they do like an eShop roundup, and they even break out Nindies and do like the best of January.
Yeah.
And those usually these are the games you should be paying attention to. These are the indie games that you should be paying attention to, not Mujo or whatever else was quickly ported to the system. And they do a really good job at that. I think the only reason people don't look at that more is because it's not connected to the eShop. Like, and that's where a lot of this stuff that I think people are asking for, like this sort of curation is happening, but it's not in the eShop interface. It's in the news interface, and you have to go there.
Yeah, that's fair.
And take a look at that. But they are doing better, I find, than the other platforms are. And I think Sony and Microsoft obviously have a more complicated system because they have movies, music, and TV shows that they also have to curate
as well.
And on Xbox, you have Game Pass stuff, and indies and full games and all this other stuff. Like all marketplaces are crowded. I think Nintendo has done an okay job in the news section, but I think you have to hunt that. You have to find that. You have to wade through that yourself.
Right.
Yeah. That's, again, it's not a Nintendo thing, and Nintendo has handled it really well. But I mean, I was worried about the whole drowning in mobile ports thing.
Yeah.
Right from the start, just because, again, the architecture of the system, it's easy to port that stuff over. You don't have to worry about performance if you're porting over mobile stuff, and the Switch is successful. So could be some easy money.
Of course it's going to have that stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Is that where we should end it?
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
I think so. Sure. Alrighty, and that is our show for this week. Thank you very much for listening. If you have a question for us or would like to comment on something you heard, you can direct that to @P1Podcast on the Twitters, or you can go to our internet website at player1podcast.com. There you'll find blog entries about Sega CD stuff from Mr. Greg Seward.
I owe you guys one of those. It's been like 3 weeks that I said I was going to have one, and I haven't actually gotten around to it.
That's fine. It's fine. Because you also get brand new episodes of Generation 16, and there was one of those on Hard Driving.
That's right, Hard Driving.
Yep.
You should go check it out. I was pretty happy with that episode.
Hard Driving was never good. Never good. Even in the arcade. Never good. I have the problem, Greg. I have the problem where my foot is always on the accelerator, and you said you had to vary your speed in Hard Driving, otherwise you'll just take a jump and you'll crash. That was me. I did that every single time, and I hate Hard Driving.
And stunningly, never learn from your mistakes. That's the
nope.
Which is why I always held on to the holy F handle in the old Geo Metro every time we went to Steak and Shake. Every time we went to Steak and Shake.
Yep.
I miss
as
Steak
well
and
you
Shake.
should.
I don't miss White Castle. I do miss Steak and Shake.
Yep, Steak and Shake is good.
Looking deep into CJ's eyes over a vanilla shake.
Oh boy.
That's right.
Those were the nights.
But new Generation 16 episodes.
Yes, and the script for the next episode I just actually completed last night. So, a couple nights ago. Well, so hopefully that'll be in the next couple weeks.
All right.
Nice. You'll find the contact information. You'll find show notes from this episode and all of our episodes. That's relevant links to the things that we talked about during the show. That's handy. It's good stuff.
Handy. Short Handies. Is that the name of our episode? Short Handies? Quick Handies?
I don't know yet. And you'll also find a message board where you can discuss this episode with us and our other listeners.
If you'd like to subscribe to the Player One Podcast, you can do so by visiting player1podcast.com or by going to the Apple Podcast app. You can also head over to the iTunes. Well, no, not the iTunes. The App Store. The App Store to pick up the Player One podcast iPhone application for $1.99.
Okay. Cheap.
He takes 1 week off and he forgets his.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if you were done. There was so much stuttering and
gives you one-touch communication with us via the emails, the Twitters, the what have you. You also have all of our episodes ready to stream right to your listening device. And hey, Android cell phone, telephone users, the Player One podcast iPhone applications available for you listening to us as well. For that same that.
Also cheap.
You can find that right over there at the Amazon Android Marketplace. We're also on Stitcher Radio. You can like us on Facebook. You can check out archives of our show or watch us live most Super Bowl Sundays at the youtubes.com/P1 podcast. And if you've liked what you've heard, and how could you can head over to patreon.com/P1 podcast. Throw a few shekels our way. If we get enough Patreon supporters next year, watch for our Player One podcast Super Bowl ad. It will be.
I don't think we're going to have enough.
It won't play
backers
on the Super Bowl, but it'll play somewhere during the Super Bowl.
There we go. Yes,
we have a giant animatronic Dormerbot that we're going to debut.
Yes,
we got a CG Greg Ford
watching the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but the CG is not in 4K, while the footage itself is.
Yes,
exactly. That's true.
Yeah.
Yes,
you guys are getting it now.
Yeah. Mike Phillips will show up and
but hey, backing us at the $5 level is the only way you can get access to our special after show audio feed, where you can get like 20 more minutes of show.
Where the gloves come off.
That's right.
What? The what? I don't bring any gloves.
The kid gloves.
That's where the real show happens.
That's right. Yeah. And if you have a couple bucks left over, head over to generation-16.com, where you find the Patreon link to help support Greg Stewart's outstanding, and I do not say that lightly, web series about North America's favorite second banana, the Sega Genesis.
Some of that hardware back there.
Oh,
look at that! Look at that! This guy is taking it seriously.
That's right. That's where the Patreon dollars go. Stuff like that.
There you go.
Greg Stewart's little display case there.
Yep. And all that is either has been or will be used in the show.
Outstanding. CJ.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Phil,
for taking time out of your Super Bowl Sunday.
No problem.
To join us.
No problem at all.
Yeah.
Really.
Well, that is a little bit of a problem.
Not really.
Gregory.
Yo.
Thank you for same.
I appreciate it, Phil, and thank you.
As well you should. I am sacrificing a lot.
We know.
Yes, we are aware.
I make sure you're aware every week
how
much of a pain you people are to me.
Yeah.
And I guess we'll see everyone next week.
Sounds good to me.
Do it.
All right.
Okay, I gotta go.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Watch me at Cloverfield. Is Cloverfield up on the Netflix yet?
Probably not. We got to do an after show. You're not going nowhere.
The game, there's still like 10 minutes left in the game. And that's a football 10 minutes. There's still a good hour and a half left in the game.
Hurry up, footballers. Us nerds want to watch our monster movie.